Compassion walked on the earth in the form of Buddha. Therefore, if Einstein is considered a scientific genius, Buddha can be considered a spiritual genius. A quote from Sadhguru Sri Nanagaru's speech.
It was a night's journey between Calcutta and Buddha Gaya. In his college days, Swami Vivekananda used to make debts for the sake of visiting Buddha Gaya. Though Sri Ramakrishna was his guru, Buddha was close to his heart. Swamiji said that boldness, fearlessness and tremendous love, we petty-minded people, we chicken-hearted people cannot understand. Swamiji intended, is there anyone in this world comparable to Buddha? Did another Buddha arrive again after his departure? Once, Swamiji said, I am not a Buddhist monk, but I have been tremendously attracted by Buddha. I like him very much, but I am not a Buddhist. I am a Hindu only, but I have tremendous love for Buddha. Immediately a question was posed to Swamiji. Why didn't Buddha clarify whether or not God exists? Swamiji replied, what will Buddha say about God when he himself is God? Swamiji possessed such highest regard for Buddha.
An English author called Edwin Arnold mentioned in his book, The Light of Asia, when anyone saw Buddha walking on a road, they would feel as if he is walking into their hearts. So when we come across the above sentence, we wonder if Arnold has written this sentence in the state of samadhi.
Rabindranath Tagore said, Buddha is the one who doesn't know as to what is a sin or a flaw or a weakness or selfishness.
Though Jawaharlal Nehru looked like a Hindu externally, he was a devotee of Buddha internally. He said, Buddha is the greatest Indian in recorded history.
Buddha can be called the greatest sage in the world. He was most impersonal and most practical. He was not related to any particular region or country. He was 100% universal. He always insisted on moral values. Every country is aware of Buddha. In entire history, there is no one else in Buddhism who is comparable to Buddha. Buddha was a grave man. He never talked humorously. The other great seers were humorous at least once in a while. However, Buddha felt that humor implies enjoying the external things where the mind gets extroverted. He thought it to be a waste of time. He was such a serious person. Buddha never spoke in a manner where he had to apologize in return. He was not aware of what was meant by timidity or fear. He remained in the same place, even if the snakes moved around. Buddha never knew what insult meant to be. Being a king, he went to his own house to beg for food. Is it possible for everyone? We can sell the wood in Kashi but not in our hometown. Is it possible for us? No.
There was a gap of 6 years between his giving up the house and attaining enlightenment. In all these 6 years, he roamed around in a radius of 20 kilometers. He changed about 5 to 6 trees in these 6 years as his residence. Buddha attained enlightenment in Buddha Gaya. However, he gave his first sermon in Sarnath. Sarnath is worthwhile watching. It is a quiet and calm place. Buddha stayed for 6 months in Sarnath. Monuments, stupas, and temples have been built in Sarnath. It became a holy place for the devotees of Buddha. Buddha taught 5 people in Sarnath, where even their idols have also been placed. After that, he traveled across Uttar Pradesh and Bihar by walk. He used to walk in all seasons except during the rainy season.
Buddha never got into the affairs of miracles. He said, "People performing miracles need not accompany me." The reason being the mind gets emotional and extroverted due to miracles. Buddha never performed any deed to attract others toward him. Buddha was not an atheist. He is an atheist who considers that human life ends when the corpse gets burnt in the burial ground. An atheist never accepts the theory of rebirth. However, Buddha accepted the theory of previous birth and rebirth.
People used to look upon Buddha as a king only and never insulted him when he approached them for alms. Buddha walked majestically, resembling an elephant when he went out for alms. People used to keep aside a portion of their food for the sake of Buddha. Buddha ate only once a day. He never preached in any house. If anyone invited him for a meal, he visited their home, took his meals, and returned to preach under a tree. One can be jovial with Lord Krishna but not with Buddha. It is because he was brought up in such a manner. One cannot take liberty with Buddha though he gives them sufficient leniency. Though Lord Rama and Lord Krishna are beyond our history, Buddha is very much a historical person. No person like Buddha ever walked on this earth.
Buddha criticized the caste system slowly but not in a revolutionary manner. He said, "When there is gold within, how can one be addressed as an untouchable?" Buddha sacrificed a prominent kingdom in his search for truth. After giving up the kingdom, he did not even get the thought of having sacrificed it. Why is it so? It is because he never thought it belonged to him despite being in the kingdom. He never thought that anything else in the world belonged to him. Hence there was no question of having made any sacrifice. There was no word called sacrifice in the dictionary of Buddha. Buddha said, "If I considered myself rich in the past, I would consider myself poor in the present. I never thought of being rich in the past and therefore will not think of being poor in the present."
Buddha enables us to get reformed without any compromise. He possessed the sattvic quality very naturally. Dhammapada and The Way to Sarnath are 2 good books on Buddha. Every word uttered in Dhammapada belongs to Buddha only. Buddha was homeless and penniless. He did not possess any ashram. He had a single policy of, "Nothing for me." He never considered anything in the world as his own. In world history, only Buddha converted his son, stepmother, and stepbrother to an ascetic, which meant no successes for his kingdom. Buddha calls the ultimate state nirvana. Nirvana implies the ego getting dried out. Until and unless your body consciousness gets annihilated entirely and permanently without any trace, you will not attain the state of nirvana. If you identify yourselves as so and so, you cannot reach the state of nirvana.
Buddhitva refers to a state. Buddha did not possess the thoughts of I and mine. They were completely eradicated in him. All the tendencies that bring about rebirth were completely destroyed within him. Buddha never possessed any ownership, for he realized that nothing is permanent. He attained the desireless state where there was no more rebirth. He reached such a state which is not attainable even by our gods. Buddha desired poverty. We cannot bear it even if it comes to us naturally. Buddha required neither merit nor demerit. He had nothing in storage. He did not consider himself to be a good person. His existence resembled as if he was spread out in the entire sky.
Buddha led a truth-centered life. He preached based on truth. One can see the word and actions within Buddha but not the individuality. Even if someone criticizes another person before Buddha, he never carried it to others. Buddha possessed not even a single weakness. He was never subject to any external attractions. He was inclined neither towards a particular place nor caste nor nation nor color nor sex. Therefore, if you want to find any faults within Buddha, you cannot. If any flaws existed in Buddha, you could try to find them. But when he is entirely flawless, how can you find so?
Suppose you are visible in a cinema. Are you or your reflection visible? It is your reflection that is visible. It is not you. The image reflected in the mirror is nothing but your reflection. It is your shadow that accompanies you when you walk. However, you are not that shadow. Similarly, all the bodies represent shadows. It is irrelevant whether God exists or not. Under any circumstance, you should be devoid of suffering and sorrow, irrespective of the external situations. Buddha attempts to lead you towards such a state. If asked whether we need God or ego, Buddha would suggest, keep God aside. First, transcend the ego.
When asked whether God existed, Buddha remained silent. When Bhagavan Ramana was posed with the same question, Bhagavan replied, the jiva, God, and the world, all three emerged from ego alone. In a deep sleep, all three disappear when there is no ego. However, Buddha remained silent on this question. It is because more harm was being done in the name of God in those days. In the epics, we hear about several sages cursing people. But one cannot see such things in Buddha. Buddha was very honorable. The other great seers got up from their seats when they became angry. But Buddha never behaved thus. He never raised his voice. If he felt we could not understand him, he would remain silent. If people cannot understand him, Buddha would prepare their minds if required, but would not hurt them. If Buddha talked for 5 minutes, he would maintain the same tone and pitch from the first to the last sentence. We can't talk in that manner. Whenever Buddha spoke, people felt that a wall was addressing them. He never spoke even a single wrong word. He did not give up reasoning in the name of devotion.
Buddha was most practical. Bhagavan Ramana said, "This world represents a dream." Sri Ramakrishna said, "This world is but a play of God or a Leela." Sri Shankara called this world Maya. However, Buddha said, "Why are you concerned whether this world is a dream or untrue? Try to reform yourselves. What will you gain if you call this world a dream?" He is Buddha who has transcended his thinking or reasoning faculty. Buddha implies the Supreme Self. Even if you look at Buddha as a person, he is highly civilized and cultured. We look upon Buddha as an individual, but no personality exists there. Only the viewer perceives the personality, but no individual life exists. It is all universal life. To describe Buddha in a single sentence, he was universal and the most excellent sage in the world.
Buddham saranam gacchami, Dhammam saranam gacchami, Sangham saranam gacchami. Buddham saranam gacchami, Dhammam saranam gacchami, Sangham saranam gacchami.
त्याग मूर्ति तू शांत चित्त तू योग रूप संसारी दया प्रेमान मानवतेचे प्रतीक तुझी ईश्वरी सिद्ध मूर्ती सिद्धार्थ गौतम सकलांचा स्वामी
Buddham saranam gacchami, Dhammam saranam gacchami, Sangham saranam gacchami. Sa 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 ni re 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 re.
सारे मग पम नम मग रे सा नी रे सा सारे मग पम नम मग रे सा नी रे सा तव रूपाने ईश्वरी देणगी लाभलिया जगताला जग कल्याणा कारण ठरला गौतम या विश्वाला तव रूपाने ईश्वरी देणगी लाभलिया जगताला जग कल्याणा कारण ठरला गौतम या विश्वाला अत्याचारी बलशाली नमिले पवित्र पुण्य विहारी तथागताने मार्ग दाविला मोक्षाचा संसारी बुद्ध धर्म जगताला प्रेरक बुद्ध चितारणहारी
Buddham saranam gacchami, Dhammam saranam gacchami, Sangham saranam gacchami. Buddham saranam gacchami, Dhammam saranam gacchami, Sangham saranam gacchami.
तू दयावंत प्रति सत्य स्वरूप परमार्थाचा तू प्रतीक ममतेचा वात्सल्याचा भंडार जणू तू धनिक तू दयावंत प्रति सत्य स्वरूप परमार्थाचा तू प्रतीक ममतेचा वात्सल्याचा भंडार जणू तू धनिक तू सर्वश्रेष्ठ बुद्धीचे प्रतीक सिद्धार्थ गौतम स्वामी ज्ञान योगी तू ध्यान मूर्ती परमात्मा अंतर्यामी बुद्धाच्या शिक्षेने पावन झाली चराचर धरणी
Buddham saranam gacchami, Dhammam saranam gacchami, Sangham saranam gacchami. Sa 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 ni re 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 re.
सारे मग पम नम मग रे सा नी रे सा सारे मग पम नम मग रे सा नी रे सा प्रतिकार या जीवसृष्टीतील हर प्राण्यांचा एक तुझी आधार म्हणून सृष्टी विध्वंसाचा तू केलासी प्रतिकार तव उपदेशाने दानवही जाहले देव समान सुखराज पाठ सोडून झाले तव शिष्य कैक राजन